It would be fantastic if existence never put us in difficult situations, if we could act instinctively, day after day, and still always make the right decisions. But that's not how the world operates. That's not how we work. If left alone in the face of adversity, we end up ruining everything. Lost, disoriented. That's why the great have what Marcus Aurelius called personal epictetes. Stoicism, in theory, is a philosophy. In practice, it is a set of guidelines for living. The Stoics believed that life was complex and, most crucially, exhausting. Therefore, establishing simple guidelines to live by helps us ensure that we stay on track, that we don't allow the complexity and nuances of each situation to compromise the great high standards we know we have. Before we continue, I invite you to leave your like and share in the comments the phrase "Stoic Mind," which symbolizes the strength you desire to achieve a truly prosperous and serene 2024. I will be leaving a heart in your comment, which will confirm that you will have a prosperous 2024. Now back to the video. In this video, we will explain some of the Stoics' main and most important guidelines for life. First rule, get up early. Get up early. One of Marcus Aurelius's passages says, "When you wake up early in the morning, reflect on how great the privilege is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to feel joy, and to love." Marco Aurelio did not need to get up early every morning. In fact, in his book Meditations, Marco reflects on the topic with himself. Even though he is the emperor of Rome, Marco reports in his personal diary that every day he strongly desires to remain under the warm covers. In fact, Marco doesn't need to get up so early. One of his predecessors, Tiberius, practically abdicated the throne for an exotic island. Marco's adopted great-grandfather Hadrian barely spent time in Rome. The emperor had all the prerogatives, but he still insisted on starting work very early. Why did he do this? He knew that winning the morning was the key to winning the day and winning in life. Focus on the effort. Second rule, focus on effort, not results. For the Stoics, satisfaction lies in doing your best, in what your nature demands, and you can do it anywhere. Focusing on effort is understanding that our main objective is to do everything possible to achieve what we want, and that the results of our efforts are, most of the time, beyond our control. Ask yourself, what can I do? How can I achieve this goal? Focus on the actions within your reach, and leave the rest to fate to decide. Third rule, read daily. Read daily. Do you feel like you're going around in circles in your life and never leaving your place? In this case, you may need to learn something new. Marco Aurelio wrote about the importance of dedicating time to learning something new and good, and only then avoiding stagnation. There are several sources of learning: the experience, the conversation, the connections, the books. The Stoics had a special appreciation for books. In them, we can access the minds and experience of those who have more knowledge than us in different areas. If you hope to get different results, you need to start acting according to new standards and concepts. Therefore, the habit of daily reading is essential. Fourth rule, be demanding of yourself, but tolerant of others. Be tolerant of others, but demanding of yourself. This is one of Marco Aurelio's most famous phrases. In addition to him, other great Stoics were examples of the application of this concept. Cato, for example, hated excess. He abhorred elegance, luxury, and considered indulging in such things as weakness and stupidity. And then, what did he think of his brother, who was much less strict about these things? He loved him. In fact, he adored him. To use an old expression, we can hate the sin while still loving the sinner. Because what they do, how they act, is not in our control. The virtue we choose to see in them, this is within our control. It is important to remember that Stoics have strict standards. We have strong opinions about what is right and what is not. However, we need to understand and forgive those who were, as Marcus Aurelius writes, led away from the truth. Fifth rule, look for challenges. Who would Hercules have been if there had been no lion, hyena, hydra, or boar, and savage criminals to terrorize the world? What would he have done in the absence of such challenges? Obviously, he would have just rolled over in bed and gone back to sleep. And thus, by spending his life in comfort and luxury, he would never have become the great Hercules. To build an extraordinary life, it is essential that you are always looking for the next challenge. Comfort to develop mental strength. They did this in many ways: exposure to cold and heat, fasting from food and water, sleeping on the floor, wearing worn-out clothes, and facing difficult physical challenges. Ask yourself, how can I challenge myself in different areas? What can I do today to get out of my comfort zone and evolve? Sixth rule: stay a learner, stay a learner. In the words of Seneca, you must keep learning until the end of your life. The world is always changing, and in the time of the great Stoics, it was no different. Staying an apprentice means keeping an open, receptive, and attentive look at everything around you, at the different metamorphoses of the world. Anyone who is not open to learning or does not proactively seek learning is destined for stagnation. Do not allow this happen to you. Seventh rule: eliminate toxic people from your life. Eliminate toxic people from your life. Do you live with toxic people? Are your friends stunting your growth? Does your partner not allow you to reach your full potential? Stoicism guides us to change everything we can change that is not okay. Likewise, it guides us to endure and accept everything that cannot be changed. The same goes for relationships. The relationships we maintain are something that we can, and often must, change frequently. Epictetus advises his readers to choose the company of philosophers. By this, he does not mean professionals locked away in dusty libraries and small offices. Instead, it refers to those people who actively want to improve themselves, who want to become wiser, kinder, and more fulfilled. They are the ones who make you proud of who you are, but also encourage you to behave better. They cultivate virtue. They encourage, support, and give advice. But they also call you out when you are acting inappropriately. Philosophers, for Epictetus, want you to prosper. Eighth rule: memento mori. The phrase memento mori in Latin can be translated as, remember that you too will die. However, for the Stoics, memento mori represents much more than a simple phrase. It is a true mantra, a philosophy. The subject of death is usually avoided by most people. We tend to see death as a distant future and uncertain event. We imagine we are moving toward it, slowly or quickly, depending on our health. For Seneca, this is the wrong way to think about death. Death, according to him, is a process that is occurring every moment. We are dying every day, he said. Even as you watch this video, the time that is passing belongs to death and will never return. Marcus Aurelius also often meditated on his mortality, and in his notes he wrote, "Your life could end at this moment. Let it determine what you do, say, and think." A great Stoic exercise is to meditate for 5 minutes on the brevity of life and its mortality, not in a depressive way, but trying to understand how precious the time available is. And then, as Marcus Aurelius would say, let the awareness of your mortality determine everything you do, say, and think. Ninth rule: focus on what you can control. Focus on what you can control. The greatest task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters that are outside my zone of control from those that I can actually control. So where should I look for the good and the bad? Not in the external and uncontrollable matters, but within of myself, in the choices I can make. This is a quote from Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, who lived most of his life as a slave in Rome. The ninth rule is the most important practice of Stoic philosophy. Knowing how to identify what is under your control and what is not, and focus on the first. If I can't control the weather, why complain about the rain? If I can't control the traffic, why stress on the way there? What about work? Energy they dedicate on the field, and how much dedication they have. Focus only on what you can control. The rest will be a consequence of that. How about applying this rule now? Separate your current problems into 2 categories: those within your control and those that are not. After sorting them, write down how you can resolve the ones you can influence and choose to ignore the ones you can't do anything about. Your mental peace and productivity will thank you. Did you like this video? Subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to ensure you don't miss the next videos. Thanks for watching.